Okay, welcome to another episode of Bocce Dome. Tonight we're going to be discussing bocce in the Asia and Oceania region, and we've assembled our panel tonight. Welcome Daniel Samsa. Welcome back.
Hey, good
How's it going?
I'm all right.
Fantastic. Vanessa, the vivacious Vanessa Allegretto, how are you?
I'm good, Tony. How are you?
I'm fantastic and great to see you back.
There
And
you go.
tonight, we couldn't have probably thought of a better person to have on our panel as a guest speaker on the topic that we've got tonight, because we have the president of the Asia Oceania Sport Bowls Confederation, Mr. Tony Biancacci. How are you, mate?
Fine, thank you.
That's
Welcome.
great. Tony is, currently, as I say, the president of the Asia Oceania Sports Bowls Confederation, which was formed in 2018. So I think it was appropriate that we have you on tonight, Tony, and help us along here. And I guess
Looking forward.
first thing I'd like to say, probably as the president of the Asia Oceania Federation, does this now mean that all continents are now represented on the world stage?
Yeah, that's right, Tony. Asia Oceania was the last region to have been included as part of the world body, and here we are today. So, you know.
How many countries are now playing in Asia Oceania, Tony?
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Well, to date, I can announce that there were 15 countries that are affiliated with Asia Oceania. There's actually 38 countries within the region. Slowly we're trying to get that number to increase from 15 onwards. But I guess together with my executive committee, our aim is to develop and expand the sport to as many countries as we can within the region as possible, and ultimately, most importantly, to promote the sport as an Olympic discipline. The purpose of having Asia Oceania is to provide, obviously, the sporting opportunities for the elite players as a pathway to qualifying for the world titles.
And I guess that's a good chance to opportune time to talk to Vanessa and Daniel, who both were part of the Australian team in the Asia Oceania, along with myself, actually. What did you think of it, Daniel?
I thought it was a really good initiative that the FIB has taken on, I guess, to restructure the sport and include these regional championships. And it gave the opportunity for us to play against a lot of new developing countries like India, Hong Kong, and all these other ones like that. And it's just bringing new players into the sport and expanding the sport out to a new market, I think. And that was really...
It was really, really interesting for myself to see, as you say, Daniel, some of these countries like India, whilst they're learning themselves, I was really impressed of their passion and how keen they were to learn. And I have no doubt that in years to come, they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with, these countries. That these little countries coming along, I think we're in for a big shock. I think they're going to be very competitive. What about yourself, Vanessa? I noticed you were playing some against the girls' teams, and China and Japan are very competitive. And the girls, they were really tough, really tough.
They're tough no matter where you play them. So Daniel and I have also gone to China before together. And playing against the Chinese and the Japanese, they're passionate. They've got, fire in their belly. They want to make themselves proud, but also make their country proud. And it's just awesome to play against them. They're off the court, you're really good friends. When you're on that court, it's your business. It's not let's muck around. The atmosphere was great. It was in my hometown of Melbourne. So I had my mum, my dad, my boys all there cheering me on. It was just the honour of playing for Australia at home in my own home state was just amazing.
I second that, because I found it to be a very fun experience. Just like it was the first time we've all kind of come together and played for Australia in Australia. Every time it's always been travelling overseas, but now we actually had our family, our friends come watch us and cheer us on. So it kind of pushed you along, and even just playing these courts that we actually know how to play on. So once we've got the advantage.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, that was my first exposure to the game at an international level, having international players here. And I played in the doubles with Angelo Parisi. And I found it really exciting. I think the whole idea of qualifying for the Asia Oceania, playing against international countries, and then moving on to the world stage at the World Championships, I think was great.
And all that did was kind of prepare us for when we went overseas to play these even harder countries.
Yeah, and it gave us a chance to play together as a team for Australia here before we just met up overseas in Turkey. So I think it was great. It was great. And last year it was hosted here in Melbourne. How does that happen, Tony? I mean, how does that come about? I mean, like, do you vote on that, or did we just put up our hand and say we'll take it on for this year? Or
you're partly right. It was in 2018 in China at the World Championships that the world body had the AGM, Annual General Meeting, and the Australian President Frank Fanavi offered to host the first Australian Oceania Championships to be held in Melbourne. At the time, Australia was seen as leaders of the region, and there were only 6 or 7 other countries in the running, but they weren't quite prepared to run such an event. And as you said, it was a great success, especially having the world president, Frederick Roos, in attendance, coming all the way up to France to be part of the competition. So that was a bit of a coup.
Yeah, I think a lot of the associations, along with ourselves, we're pretty impressed to have him here present for that championship. It was a bit of an honour.
Certainly was.
He saw how well Australia can run championships.
Well, it's a bit of a dry run for, perhaps a future world championship. One of the things that's come about now that we've, all of the continents are members, there's a push for each continent to hold a world championship on a rotation basis. So we could be in the running for a world championship in a few years' time.
I guess I've got a question, Tony. I mean, at the moment, through these times of COVID, we're all in lockdown, and what's the roadmap out of this in terms of the Asia Oceania region and Bocce? Like, where was the next competition going to be held? When's it going to be held? Are we that close, or is that still a fair way away?
About 6 months ago, I thought I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but the championships normally held every 2 years to align with the FIB calendar. We are scheduled for next year. It's going to be quite a complex situation if it is held in Australia, because obviously there'll be a lot of restrictions on the travel part. So personally, I don't think we'll see an international event in 21. I think we'd be looking at 22. Only my opinion. I hope I'm wrong.
I guess we'll take this opportunity too. I think we've got a short video clip from one of our international players, Shin from Japan, who came down and played for the under 23s. I think we have a bit of a listen to what he's got to say.
Hi, I'm Shin. I live in Tokyo, Japan, and I enjoy playing bocce. Compared to Japan, Australia has much better facilities for playing bocce, and also Australia is really familiar to us. So it was really meaningful experience to have a match in Australia. But for a Japanese team to be qualified for the World Championship is not easy things. Though the Asian Championship keeps us to play hard in daily practice. So I think the new system of qualifying the team for World Championship is good things for not only us, but for other teams. I think so. Thank you.
Well, I think we'll wrap it up. I think there's some really exciting times for the region, Tony. I think the amount of countries participating, I think it gives us a good platform to really challenge at world level. I mean, but I wouldn't write off the Asia Oceania region, including Australia in that. I think we're going to be, I think we're in good hands at the moment.
Yeah, we're fortunate. We've got the infrastructure in place as a country. I'll put my Australia hat on now. We have great facilities to accommodate a championship.
I think if you're seeing like the World Championships level as well, like Australia especially, but all of Asia Oceania, we're constantly top 8 countries. And that's Japan, China, all the ones that qualified. So I think if you get these more like countries in, it just pushes us all along, and maybe it will make us get even better results in the future.
Yeah, and also within the region, there's no reason why we can't have other mini competitions like where Australia goes to India to play, or the Indians come here, or the Chinese, you make a tri-continental. You know, there's a whole lot of other options to give all the players that match experience, because that's one of the things we lack because of our geography and our distance in between different countries. Whereas in Europe, they almost play one another every second weekend, and hopefully that's one of the areas we want to try and grow.
Move on to our next segment, to the What Happens Next segment. Last week we showed you a video of the Australian 2019 Under-18 Championships, and we had a player in the precision throw final who was throwing at his last target to actually win the game, and we had to try to identify who the player was. And here it is. For all those who guessed correctly, yes, it was Max Tricarico, our very own Victorian player who was playing at the 2019 Under-18's precision throw final. Well done, Max. It was a fantastic shot, and we're very proud of you, mate.
Under pressure too.
All right, we'll go to this week's video. This week's video is at the Asia Oceania Championships. We had Japan v China in the singles final, and it was a very close game. And it got down to the last end where China was left with 2 balls to win the game. And we'll go to the video. Alrighty, so we'll have to tap in next week to see the result of that. It'll be a very interesting final there, and I think you'll be very surprised with the result. Alrighty, that wraps up another episode of Bocce Dome. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our panel, Vanessa, LEG, Allegretto, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Nice seeing you again, Tony.
Thank you very much, you too. And Daniel, Samsa.
Good to be here again.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for your contribution. And again, a very big thank you to Tony Biancacci for coming on and giving us a bit of an insight to what's happening in our Asia Oceania region for the sport of bowls. I appreciate you coming on, Tony. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And until we see each other next week, stay safe and stay healthy. And remember, if you're not playing bocce, you're not loving life. Have a great night. Cheers.